What's up YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network, the channel dedicated to providing you with competitive Pokemon TCG content. Today we are looking at a deck revolving around Quagsire from Dragon's Majesty and Naganadel from Lost Thunder, as well as a couple water Pokemon attackers. So at first glance, this deck looks like we don't have enough attackers. We have the one Laparis, the two Shining Volk, and the one Volk Prism, but something unique about this deck is our support Pokemon are also great attackers at different points in the game. So I just wanted to say that before getting into the counts of everything. We'll start off with the leftmost Pokemon, one Ditto Prism. Ditto Prism Almighty Evolution. You may put any stage 1 card from your hand onto this Pokemon to evolve it. You can't use it the first turn this Pokemon's in play. So whenever you'd be able to evolve a Wooper into a Quagsire, you can evolve a Ditto into whatever stage 1 Pokemon you want to. And in this deck, those choices are Naganadel and Quagsire. Our next Pokemon is Oranguru, just one for Instruct. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. Zebstrika is also a possible draw Pokemon for this deck. Oranguru is what I've selected as of now. Since we already have 2 stage 1 lines in the deck, I didn't want to add Zebstrika in, since I also feel like most games I cycle through this deck really well. There's a lot of cards that allow you to like play out your hand, thin out the deck, get what you need. So next we have a 2-2 line of Poipole Naganadel. Sorry, my music stopped there for a second, threw me off. So we have 2-2 line of Poipole Naganadel. I'm using the new Poipole that allows you to look at your face down prize cards, but I suppose there's merit for playing 1-1 of the old Poipole that poisons and this one, or just play 2 of the old one. I didn't put too much thought into the Poipoles that we chose, but Naganadel from the new set is a stage 1 Ultra Beast, 130 HP Psychic type, non-GX Pokemon. Its ability Charge Up is what's really interesting about this card. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So it's similar to things we've seen like Psychic Recharge, except it's only to Naganadel that the energy can be attached. What's nice about this is that it can also be attached while this is in the active, the bench, it doesn't matter where on the board Naganadel is. So you have that ability once a turn. And then Turning Point for 3 colorless energy, it does 80. If you have exactly 3 prize cards remaining, it does 160 instead. So that's a really great attack. And because of charging up, you can always get an energy from your discard to the Pokemon, and it has 1 retreat. This is a very easy Pokemon to retreat back and forth. Next we have one Laparis Gx, 190 HP. This is our biggest hitter of the deck. With we have a couple big hitters of the deck, but I'll get into that because Naganadel and Quagsire can do damage circumstantially, but Laparis has the highest amount of damage on its card with Blizzard Burn. Collect you use every now and again, draw 3 cards. If you have a bad start, Laparis is okay for that. Blizzard Burn is the main reason this is in here, so it does 160 and then it can attack during your next turn. But if you're playing against something like Zoroark, where they have 200 and 210 HP Pokemon, you get off 1 spread attack with Volk Prism, which we will get into, essentially putting 20 on all the bench Pokemon. Then you can clean up with Blizzard Burn with a Choice Band, and take some knockouts that would otherwise be fairly hard to reach at certain points of the game. You don't always need Laparis GX against higher HP decks, against higher HP Pokemon on your opponent's side, but when you do need a heavy hitter in a pinch, Laparis is one of the best choices for the deck, if not the best choice. And its Ice Beam GX attack has also put me in a few favorable positions in testing. For 2 water and a colorless, it does 100 and your opponent's Pokemon is now paralyzed. There are things like Switch, Guzma, Acerola, a lot of options to get out of paralyzing or simply evolving the Pokemon. But 1, it forces your opponent to use one of those supporters if they are going to as their supporter for the turn. 2, they might miss the utility cards they need to get out of it and just not be able to do anything with their active Pokemon that turn. So Lapras serves The purpose of one-shotting, Ice Beam can stall, and Collect can draw you some cards if you're having a rough start. But it's nice to play this as a non-GX deck if you can. Next, we have 2 Shining Volcanion. Originally, we started with the 1 in this deck when I was testing it on stream. I quickly wanted a second Shining Volcanion for Dual Pump. So Dual Pump does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. It could be 2 of the benched or 1 active, 1 benched. This came up a lot against decks like Lost March. Their Hoppips are 40 HP, their Natus are 40 HP. You just Dual Pump, take 2 prizes. You can also set up kills for later. Like I said, you can do with Volcanium Prism with the 20 spread, you can just 50 spread to 2 things and make easier knockouts for later. If Shining Volk ever lives after hitting a Dual Pump, which 130 can be awkward sometimes to hit, you get so much value just spreading 200 on the board in a matter of 2 turns. It's good for cleaning up kills as well as setting up kills. Take out an opponent's Ditto Prism if you get this going early enough. Really great card, and that's why I have 2 of it in the deck. This isn't really a spread deck, but it's nice to be able to spread that damage to either set up, clean up, or take a couple kills on weaker Pokemon. Then we have Volcanium Prism. One of, I don't know, this card is just so stupidly strong, it's insane. If this wasn't a Prism card, I would be calling this deck tier 1 for sure. But Volcanium Prism, we can only run 1 and never get it back. But it is that good. It's a basic with 160 HP, non-GX, super beefy. Its ability, Jet Geyser, discard a water energy card from your hand. If you do, your opponent switches their Pokemon. They get to choose which they switch with. It's more of it's an escape rope-like effect, not a Guzma-like effect. But it does allow you to discard a water energy, so that either means you get to draw more cards with Lily, or draw more cards with Guru, or you get a water energy to use with Aqua Patch or Naganadel. And then Sauna Blast is a really, really great and efficient attack. For 3 water energy, it does 120 to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Really good. A counter that I've been seeing to the spread, which is starting to get a little more popular, and rightfully so, because I've been putting it in my decks, is Machoke. Machoke can just go into a Ditto Prism and stop bench damage from happening. So luckily Sauna Blast, you can Guzma up a Machoke and kill it with Sauna Blast. And so you can hopefully spread damage next turn. Just something to note there, that the Sauna Blast damage going to the active is enough to knock out Machoke, which is really nice. So yeah, I could talk about this card a lot. It's just so cool. I love the efficiency of the attack. 120 to all the bench. Jet Geyser helps you empty your hand and get water in the discard pile. It's not weak to grass like Quagsire and Lapras are. High HP for non-GX. Really, really great card. One of the MVPs of the deck for sure. And then we're going to get to the last part of the deck, and really all the parts are pretty important here. But 2/2 Wooper Quagsire. So washout ability, as often as you like during your turn, you may move a water energy from one of your benched Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So that means if you're using Aqua Patches and charge ups with Naganadel, you can just move all that, or as much as you want of that water energy, to your active Pokemon. This makes for some really great plays. So you can move water energy up, retreat if you need to, and then Aqua Patch that energy back onto the bench, Naganadel that energy onto the bench, then wash out to a new Pokemon. Quagsire also has an attack that can really go up to high numbers. Hydro Pump for 3 colorless, 20 more damage, 60 damage base, and then it does 20 more times the amount of water attached to this Pokemon. So if you have 3, which is the attack's cost, and we're only excuse me, we're only running water energy, that's 120. A common number I'm able to hit is 5 energy on Quagsire is 160, and then with a choice band is 190, which is knocking out the likes of Buzzwole GX, Blacephalon GX. It's knocking out at base because Blacephalon's weak. It's knocking out opposing Laprases. It's knocking out Zorora. It's knocking out almost every basic GX Pokemon, and if you got a Volcanium Prism spread off earlier, it's also knocking out most Stage 1 GX Pokemon, if not all Stage 1 GX Pokemon. So Hydro Pump can have massive numbers come out of nowhere, which is really nice. So the two kind of support Pokemon for the deck's like strategy is our Quagsire and Naganadel. So Naganadel helps you accelerate energy from the discard, and Quagsire moves it to your active whenever you like, as often as you like. So that allows us to get Volcanium Prism and Shining Volcanion attacks off really quickly. And like I said, Naganadel's a great attacker, Quagsire's a great attacker. Laparis is kind of our cleanup crew to come through and kill everything after you spread some damage around. Let's go on to the trainers. We have 4 Acrobike. Look at the top 2. Discard one of them, draw one of them. Really great. Like I said, we want water energy in the discard for Aqua Patch and Naganadel. And this helps us draw cards and thin out our deck. 1 Adventure Bag. This searches up to 2 Pokemon tool cards, so it helps us get our XP shares out of the deck and onto the board. You can search out a Choice Band too, but it is essentially a 4th out to both of our tools, and we get them out of our deck, thinning our deck and letting us hit cards we might need more. 4 Aqua Patch, more Energy Excel. This is possible to go down to 3 Aqua Patch since we are running the Naganadels, but I like to have backup options. So let's say there's a game where we can't get out our Naganadels, our opponent keeps knocking out our Poipoles. Well, we go to our backup option of Aqua Patch and everything's okay. I've had quite a few games go like that, and Aqua Patch can serve the purpose if Naganadel isn't there, and vice versa. If we never hit our Aqua Patches, Naganadel will suffice most of the time. 1 Field Blower. This could potentially be 2. I would like it to be 2 to get rid of spell tags from Malamar. Maybe bodybuilding dumbbells on some things, but the matchups where Field Blower helps, you don't always need it, so just 1 is fine for now. 2 Nest Ball. We're running our basic Pokemon searches, 2 Nest Ball and 2 Brooklet Hill. I'm running a split since we do have Poipoles, Oranguru, and Ditto that can't be searched by the Brooklet. 1 Rescue Stretcher to get back things like a Poipole or a Wooper most of the time that we're knocked out and we want to turn it into a Nag or a Quag. Then we have 4 Ultra Ball, generic Pokemon search, and it also discards cards, which are good if they are water energy. 2 Brooklet Hill, like I mentioned. We're playing 3 Guzma, 4 Lily, and 4 Sightseer. So this draw engine is a bit different here. Since we have so many cards that we can just immediately play, Lily is a really great card all the time to play. And since we're playing 4, we can hit it more often on turn 1. And then we have 4 Sightseer, which is a newer supporter card. You may discard any number of cards from your hand and draw until you have 5. So you can get rid of cards you don't need, like you can get rid of the Field Blower, Adventure Bag, extra Nest Balls, and even Water Energy to help get them into your discard pile, and then draw until you have 5 cards. So I like Sightseer a lot here. And then, as I mentioned when I went over Adventure Bag, we have 3 Choice Band and 3 EXP Share. EXP Shares helping keep the energy on the board. Like I said, if one of these Energy Excel or Energy Recycling options don't work, we have the others. So we have Nag, Aqua Patch, and EXP Share to try to always have a lot of energy on the board. And that has been making this deck run really smoothly. So if you miss one piece of the combo, you probably have one of the others or 2 of the others. And then to round out the deck, we have 10 Water Energy. So this deck, the Pokemon line does look very bare minimum. I started out with, I tried 3-3 Nag or 3-3 Quagsire. But the 2-2 has been working. I did try 3s, and it was kind of clunky. I wanted more space for things like Acrobike, the Nest Balls, and I've been really enjoying this deck. It's super good against Lost March because their Pokemon are low HP. It's really good against Blacephalon because you hit them for weakness with Volcanion and Quagsire and Laparis. Because of because of Volcanium Prism Sonoblast, you can set up KOs on Zoroark decks, bringing the Zoroarks down to 190, so Lapras one-shots them with a Choice Band. Naganadel helps you out a lot against Buzzwole variants, either non-GX or GX. And I've actually beaten a few Alolan Exeggutor decks with this deck just from putting out a Shining Volcanion and getting multiple dual pumps out of each Shining Volcanion, and also Volcanium Prism, because these two Pokemon are not weak to grass like Lapras and Quagsire are. So it's really nice that we have 3 different weaknesses in our attacking Pokemon, so we can cycle through them. It's kind of a toolbox-ish deck, really, and it's also just, I'll say it again, it's so convenient that our support Pokemon are also fairly good attackers at different points of the game. So that is my Quagsire Naganadel deck that I've been calling Nag and Quag and Adventure Bag. It's really fun, if nothing else, but I also think it could be fairly competitive. I've been testing it against decks that I believe to be in Tier 1 and Tier 2, and it's been doing way better than expected. I'm also going to test a more Lapras-based version of this deck and see which I like more, but the one prize structure of this deck, aside from the Laparis Gx, is very appealing, and it can give other meta decks a run for their money. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I think it's a unique and fun deck, and I hope you guys try it out for yourself. You can catch gameplay that I play all of these decks I do profiles on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Celios_network, and make sure to check out my sponsor flipsidegaming.com and use my code Celio, all caps, for 10% off of your next order of $10 or more. That's all for me today. I'll see you next time here on Celios Network.